Argentina's Libertarian President Javier Milei has presented his 2025 budget to Congress, stressing his promises to slash the country's chronic fiscal deficit. His government has made severe cutbacks since coming to office 9 months ago. The cuts include closing ministries that protected marginalised people who now face an uncertain future. DW's Nicole Rees reports.
Janina Chavez is carrying out a routine security check on a train in Buenos Aires. But as a trans woman, she herself does not feel safe.
I've been discriminated against a lot. Every time passengers notice that you're not a biological woman, they insult you. They call you a travesty, especially since the field I work in is security.
Has this increased?
It has increased a lot. I'm very scared to go out. I only go out to get work now, and never alone.
Chavez was the first trans woman to get a job with Argentina's railway service under policies that guaranteed LGBTQ+ persons job rights. She says the policy saved her from homelessness and prostitution, but those rights are now being eroded. Javier Milei's government has made cutbacks and closed the Ministry for Women, Gender and Diversity. The government rejects the concept of gender-based violence, and it doesn't recognize sexual diversity.
Policies to prevent and fight against the violence affecting the LGBTQ community have been terminated.
Public programs such as the Plan Enya are also affected. It facilitates access to sexual and reproductive education for young people to prevent unintended pregnancies. Over the past 5 years, it has helped reduce teenage pregnancies by almost half. Programs for the protection of victims of gender-based violence also face an uncertain future. Here in Moron, in a woman's shelter, Eliana Suarez tells us how she had to leave her partner and start from scratch. She suffered physical and psychological violence. She was able to rebuild her life thanks to a program that provided her with legal, psychological and financial aid for her and her 2 daughters.
It saved me. Do you understand? Never in my life would I have imagined I would need to come to this place. But it taught me a lot. And later you start to identify other victims, and you ask, how could the same thing happen to them? So you tell them, go to this place, call this number, get help. Do you want me to accompany you? So, if this place didn't exist, what would these people do?
It's the first time since the National Women's Council was created in 1992 that Argentina has been without institutions that specifically protect women's rights. Rights groups say 30 years of progress have been reversed. Monica Macha is a member of parliament and the president of the Women and Diversity Commission, one of the last bodies looking after women's rights.
Cases of gender-based violence are likely to increase. If gender-based violence is condoned, in extreme cases, the number of femicides could also rise. The current situation will impact the daily lives of women and minorities.
DW did not obtain an interview with Milei's members of parliament. However, a representative from his party told us that she does not believe in gender policies and that all citizens are equal under the law. Meanwhile, defenders of women's rights and diversity say they will continue their fight.
We can now talk to Ramiro Tosi, an economist at La Plata National University in Buenos Aires. Welcome to DW, Ramiro. It seems the markets love Javier Milei. Argentina's main share index has doubled in value since he took office. Can you tell us a bit more about Argentina's financial problems and why Milei says that there's no alternative to austerity?
Good night. Thank you for having your show. Yes, as you mentioned, Javier Milei, let's say, is a kind of new character in the international arena. So that's why he's getting a lot of attention from analysts, from other politicians, etc. And as you mentioned, also Argentina has a chronic problem, let's say, with running fiscal deficit, and given the lack of financing of this deficit, Argentina turns typically into coming to the capital markets to issue debt, or in the absence of access to the market, it issued its own money, so printing money, and that derives in inflation. So for Javier Milei, that was the diagnosis that was presented yesterday at the Congress. And the only solution for him is to, let's say, run persistent primary surpluses in order not to have to either print money or to tap the markets issuing debts. Obviously, the countries in the world, normal countries, let's say, have access to capital markets, so it's not in a way a need to run primary surpluses all the time. So it's, in a way, it's a kind of extreme solution. It may function at the beginning, but it can't be a rule forever.
As you mentioned, austerity measures have caused a lot of pain among the Argentinian people, right? People have been protesting, haven't they?
Yes, because let's say, part of the fiscal adjustment, a heavy part, I would say 2/4 of the fiscal adjustment in these years, comes from the erosion in the payments to retired people and also to public workers. So most of the fiscal adjustment is being paid from the people and not from La Casta, as Milei, let's say, announced during his campaign and as soon as he arrived at the office. So that's why people are suffering, not only because of the erosion, the real value of the incomes they receive, but also in the form of the adjustment in the public tariff. So these combinations erodes the purchasing power of the incomes of the people, and that's why there is increasing, they say, dissatisfaction in this part of the population.
Now, interestingly, Javier Milei presented the budget for 2025 himself. It wasn't the economy minister. What does that tell you?
Well, that was, again, a new characterization of this new character. It's the first time in Argentina that this happens. Normally, it's the Minister of Finance who addresses the Congress and presents the budget for the year. I think that this is related to, let's say, to the professional career of Javier Milei, precisely being an economist. And I think that he tried to combine this compromise or this commitment with the austerity measures that is already taking place in Argentina and trying to regain the confidence of the market in order to have eventually a return to the capital market to refinance the incoming debt payments.
That's economist Ramiro Tosi. Thank you so much for explaining that to us.
Thank you to you.